Imagine a 19-year-old young man who is far more serious and mature than most people his age, choosing French philosophy instead of ordinary teenage entertainment. While other boys his age are interested in girls their own age, he has developed strong feelings for an older woman. The complication is that the woman he loves is his stepmother. This is the story of Tadpole. At the beginning of the film, we meet Oscar, a 19-year-old student who stands apart from his peers. Rather than spending his time dating and having fun, he prefers intellectual conversations and serious ideas. He is especially passionate about French literature and philosophy, admiring thinkers such as Voltaire and Rousseau. Oscar is intelligent, attractive, articulate, and unusually composed for someone his age. When Thanksgiving vacation begins, the school closes and the students travel home by train. Oscar sits with his closest friend during the journey. A pretty girl from their school approaches him and clearly shows that she is interested in him, even asking him out. Oscar politely rejects her. His friend cannot understand why he would turn down someone considered the most beautiful girl at school. Oscar explains that girls his own age do not attract him. Instead, he is drawn to women who are older, intelligent, independent, and emotionally mature. He then admits that he is already in love with someone and intends to try to win her over during the Thanksgiving break. After getting off the train, Oscar and his friend take a taxi home. His father is delighted to have him back. Oscar's mother died several years earlier, and afterward his father married Eve, partly because she could help care for Oscar. Oscar's father is a university professor, while Eve is a successful cardiologist. That evening, Oscar's father hosts a small celebration for his son's return. Numerous guests arrive, creating a cheerful atmosphere. During the gathering, Oscar's father introduces him to a girl around his age, hoping the two might get along. Oscar shows no interest, however, because his attention remains fixed on Eve. The woman Oscar mentioned to his friend is actually his stepmother. Eve is intelligent, self-assured, mature, and emotionally strong. After Oscar lost his mother, Eve helped raise him, and over time his admiration for her developed into romantic feelings. Even after he left for boarding school, he continued thinking about her. Oscar understands that society considers his feelings unacceptable, but he cannot simply make them disappear. He admires everything about Eve: her voice, her mannerisms, her intelligence, and the way she expresses herself. To Oscar, she embodies the perfect woman he had previously encountered only through literature. Eve, however, has no idea what Oscar truly feels. Whenever he tries to communicate his emotions indirectly, she completely misreads his intentions and notices nothing unusual. At the party, Oscar also meets Diane, Eve's closest friend. Diane is independent, unconventional, and confident. She works as a massage therapist and has a very open personality. Later that evening, Oscar's father asks him to drive the same girl home whom he rejected earlier. Oscar would rather not, but agrees out of respect for his father. Outside, the girl once again tells him that she wants to date him. Oscar gently refuses, explaining that they are simply too different and do not think alike. He helps her into a taxi and sends her home. Afterward, Oscar becomes upset because he cannot reveal what he really feels for Eve. Looking for a way to escape his frustration, he goes to a bar and uses a fake ID to get inside because he is underage. He drinks excessively and eventually leaves completely drunk, overwhelmed by his emotions. On his way home, Oscar unexpectedly encounters Diane. She immediately notices how intoxicated he is and worries about what his father will think if he returns home in that condition. Wanting to help him, she takes him back to her apartment. Exhausted, Oscar lies down to rest. Diane offers to help him relax with a massage. As she tries to comfort him, Oscar's drunken emotional state causes him to lose control of his feelings. Diane also becomes caught up in the situation, and the two cross a personal boundary that night, changing the situation between them. The following morning, Oscar wakes up and notices Diane asleep beside him. A strong sense of guilt and regret immediately comes over him as he realizes that he has made a serious mistake. Without disturbing her, he gets dressed and quietly attempts to leave the apartment. However, when he enters the next room, he unexpectedly encounters Diane's boyfriend. Oscar becomes nervous, but the boyfriend assumes that Oscar is simply another client who came for a massage. Diane quickly goes along with the assumption and confirms that Oscar was there only for a professional appointment. When Oscar eventually returns home, his father asks where he spent the night. Oscar lies, claiming that he stayed with a girl from his boarding school. Shortly afterward, he discovers that Eve has already gone to work. Unable to keep his feelings hidden any longer, Oscar decides that he needs to find an opportunity to speak with Eve privately. He prepares lunch for her and plans to surprise her at the clinic. His father notices what he is doing and feels proud, believing that his son is being thoughtful and considerate, completely unaware of Oscar's real motives. Oscar arrives at Eve's clinic and brings her the lunch. Eve is genuinely pleased by the gesture and sees it as another example of how kind and caring her stepson has become. During their conversation, Oscar asks her several philosophical questions, including why the heart has traditionally been regarded as a symbol of love. While they are talking, Eve receives a call from Diane. Afterward, Eve tells Oscar that she and his father are planning to have dinner that evening and that Diane will be joining them. Oscar immediately becomes worried because he fears Diane might reveal what happened between them. He quickly goes to Diane's apartment, but she is not there. Her boyfriend tells Oscar that she has gone to a cafe with some friends. Oscar goes there and finds Diane sitting with them. He tries to speak with her privately, but her friends repeatedly interrupt. They are impressed by Oscar and even show interest in him. Eventually, the others leave, giving Oscar a chance to speak with Diane. He asks her to forget what happened and promises that nothing like it should ever be mentioned to Eve. Diane agrees to keep the matter private, but admits that she has developed strong feelings for Oscar and would like to continue seeing him. Oscar refuses and walks away, leaving him even more uncertain about what to do. Oscar then visits his best friend and finally tells him the truth. He is in love with Eve. His friend is stunned. Oscar also admits that he became involved with Diane while he was drunk, but insists that he wants to end the situation. His friend warns him that the entire situation is inappropriate, but Oscar refuses to change his mind. In his eyes, Eve is not simply a mother figure. He sees her as the ideal woman. That evening, the family goes to dinner at a hotel, with Diane joining them. Diane drinks heavily and begins speaking flirtatiously to Oscar in French, knowing that Eve and Oscar's father cannot understand the language. Oscar becomes increasingly anxious, afraid that she will reveal their secret. When Diane goes to the restroom, Oscar follows her and confronts her. During their argument, she crosses a personal boundary with him, and at that moment, Oscar's father notices the two of them together. When they return to the table, his father asks whether they are hiding something. Diane suddenly announces that she and Oscar have feelings for each other. Eve and Oscar's father are shocked and immediately object, believing that the age difference makes the relationship inappropriate. Later, while Oscar's father is occupied with work, Eve tries to become closer to him, but he rejects her. Oscar secretly witnesses what happens. The following day, Eve confronts Diane and tells her directly that her relationship with Oscar is wrong. Diane confidently responds that she finds Oscar charming and mature and suggests that other women could understand her feelings as well. Later, Oscar and Eve play tennis together. After Oscar is accidentally struck by the ball, Eve has a serious conversation with him. Oscar finally tells her everything. He explains that Diane reminded him of Eve, especially because Diane had been wearing Eve's scarf. He then admits that his feelings for Eve are romantic. Eve calmly explains that what Oscar is experiencing is not true love, but a mixture of confusion and attraction. She tells him that genuine love comes with experience and a deeper understanding of life. Oscar finally begins to understand what she means. He realizes that much of what he felt was based on an idealized fantasy rather than a real relationship. As Thanksgiving comes to an end, Oscar apologizes to Eve. At the train station, he encounters the same girl who previously tried to ask him out. She quotes Voltaire, and Oscar simply smiles, showing that his outlook has changed. As the train carries him away, Oscar quietly reflects on everything that happened. He was a precocious young man who believed he understood love because he had read so much French philosophy. In reality, he had confused intellectual admiration with romantic feelings and mistaken his stepmother's kindness for something deeper. He made mistakes and crossed boundaries he should not have crossed, but through those experiences, he learned an important lesson. Maturity is not simply about reading books or having sophisticated ideas. Sometimes growing up means recognizing that what you once believed was love was actually the confused fantasy of a young person, and sometimes the wisest choice is to let go.